Hey YouTube, this is Don with the Bare Basics, and today we're going to be reviewing the SOL Scout Survival Kit. This is my personal one I've had for about 5 years now. I have modified it from what it originally comes with, but today I'm going to talk about what I think this is really good for, take apart what it originally comes with when you buy it from the store, and then show you a couple ways that you can modify it for your own uses and circumstances for camping and survival. Alright, so now we're going to take apart the SOL Scout. Now, this is kind of what it comes with when you originally buy the package. You can get this from Walmart, Target, Dick's Sporting Goods, Amazon, for pretty much $25 all the way around. The container itself is waterproof. It rolls up just like a dry bag. Now, there are a couple things that are not in this pack that do come with it, such as a couple of cotton fire starters and a small survival whistle. I decided to modify this a little bit, and I took the whistle out. I still do have it, but it's in one of my other survival packs, and I didn't really feel like looking for it. But we'll kind of go through what's left in here, and then we'll talk about what I've done to modify it. So obviously, as you can see, we have the standard button compass, which comes with pretty much any survival gear. You can buy these things in bulk. They're okay. They in a real extreme survival situation, I wouldn't recommend them, but if you've got nothing else, this and the sun can really help you out. This right here, I think it's like 10 foot roll of duct tape. Obviously, it's good to have as it's got multiple uses, first aid uses, repairing any sort of damage to your tent or camp kind of uses, clothes to keep you insulated and dry. Don't need to really explain too much there. Signal mirror. These are pretty nice. Obviously, I have not taken off the plastic yet because thankfully I have not had the displeasure of having to use it yet. It's got the standard sight in there, so that way you can look through there to signal any sort of a tower, plane, vehicle, anything that you're trying to get a bead on. And then we have a emergency fishing set here. I'm trying to see if I can get that to focus a bit better. As you can see, it's got hooks, lines, sinkers, and swivels. It also has a couple of safety pins in it as well, as you can kind of see here. It's very basic, but if you had to survive or get one meal, get one fish made, one fish caught or something for a day, you could make this work. Attaching this to a sturdy piece of wood and using that as a fishing rod or a fishing trap, possibly even using the duct tape in coordination with that. And for the size and the container, you can't really beat it. It's a nice little container to have in your kit. And then we also have the combustion tool here. Now, granted, I did, the reason I don't have the cotton fire starters anymore is because I already used mine. They're nice, though. They're the small little cotton twine pieces. You'll see them in any survival kit or fire starting kit. They last for about 30 seconds. This is just pretty simple. Just creates a spark, a little bit of flint roll on there. Obviously, this would be pretty tough to start a fire with. On its own. However, if you have some like really dry tinder or some other fire starters with you, like I do plan on getting more of those cotton fire starters in the future. However, because of the way I've modified this pack, they are not as required in mine as when you would straight up buy this out of the store. And then finally, this is a emergency blanket. As much as I would love to unfold it and show you how large it is, it is marketed as being able to fit for 2 people, and it is a little bit thicker than the emergency blankets I've talked about in previous videos. This bad boy is really nice. You can see it comes in a really nice compact package, and it is thicker and better quality than those tiny emergency blankets, so you could make a decent shelter with this or keep yourself better insulated in the cold. And then obviously, too, going kind of back to the 5 C's of Survival video, the actual bag itself is waterproof, so you could use this as a container to fit water in if you needed it for extinguishing fire, cleaning, anything like that, cleaning a wound. And we'll kind of move on to my mods that I've done to this gear, to this kit, to kind of make it a little bit better and more versatile. Alright, so these are some of the items I have added to this pack to kind of make it a little bit more modular and more for my taste when it comes to camping and survival. Obviously, these are the items we already went through that can't come in the pack, minus the fire starter and the survival whistle. However, we'll go ahead and move on to the next things. I'm a big fan of these. You've kind of saw them in my previous video for the 5 C's of Survival. These come with pretty much any Gerber, well, Bear Grill product that you purchase. And I'm not saying they're the end-all be-all on survival books or, the Holy Bible or anything. But, they do have some nice tips and tricks on, signaling, starting a fire, different sort of shelters you can make. And, if nothing else, you've got some, a bright orange piece of paper that you possibly could use for signaling. They come in handy. Since they come with every product anyway, I don't think it can hurt to just include this in any survival kit you have. They're so small, they're very convenient, and they could have some helpful tips that may or may not save your life. Next is a small knife. This is actually my first pocket knife I ever owned. It's very just standard flip out little metal knife. I've had this since I was 6 years old, so over 20 years now, and it's been nice. You can kind of see it's kind of getting a little wear over here, worn down. But I've had this forever. It's, pretty just a standard knife. Obviously, this could be replaced with any sort of, cheap knife. If you wanted, obviously, this is a little bit, you can kind of see, this is the knife, this is that Ozark knife I had in my other 5 Seasons Survival video. You can see how much smaller this is. It really does. It's a nice compact package to have. Obviously, if you have another knife like this, if you have a small multi-tool that you could fit in there as well, obviously more power to you. That's obviously something you can modify. I just like having this because it still does give me a 2.5-inch blade that I could use for possibly making some kindling for a fire, or fashioning some tools out of wood that I could use to further my survival capability. Next, we'll go ahead and talk about this. This is just a little standard peanut lighter, and this is kind of one of the reasons why I really haven't worried about refilling on my fire starters. These little peanut lighters are great because they're waterproof, and I wish there was a way I could attest to this or prove this, but in the video for you, so that way you don't just tell me I'm faking or lying to you. But I filled this up with lighter fluid. You just take this part out to fill this up. And I filled this up about 4 years ago. Never refilled it since. Been on a few camping trips. And I'm not saying I've used it constantly, but still sparks up great. First try. So those are just nice to have. They're so tiny. They are waterproof. They're great. You can get them for real cheap. Usually you have to buy them in like sets of 4 or 5 to make them worth it. But dropping one of these in each of your survival kits is never a bad idea for sure, especially for how long the lighter fluid lasts. Next, a micro flashlight. Now, when I say micro flashlight, I mean this thing is tiny. This holds a AAA battery in there. It is I'm going to try not to point directly at the camera, but it's a 3-level intensity lumen flashlight. I was lucky. I got this on clearance from REI. This bad boy has been with me through plenty of camping trips. Obviously, got a little ring here if you want to put a lanyard on it or tie it up with some cordage or carabiner. This is just great to have in this kit, obviously, because first of all, it's let me see if I can focus on that. I can't remember it's a Phoenix EO5. Oh, there we go. Now it focuses. Of course it does. And I love this little thing. It's an amazing flashlight. It does great, and because it's so small, I mean, look at it in comparison to the peanut lighter. It's a little bit over half or double the size, and it's about the same height as the knife. So I mean, this thing, if you can fit it, you should definitely have it. Then I know this is pretty silly. This is just a couple band-aids. This is just if I I don't know if it would ever happen really, but if I fall and hit some rusty piece of metal or something, or just have a small scrape that I need to clean or just cover up to make sure it doesn't get any infection if I'm in a muddy or wet terrain when I'm trying to survive and get where I need to go. Obviously, this isn't any sort of first aid kit that I'd recommend, like, oh, this is all you need, but it's just nice little, since it's so thin, so easy to put in the bag, I figured why not just have something that, if I get a wound on my hand, I could clean it out with some water, pure clean water and or soap if I have any, and then just cover it with a Band-Aid just to make sure it doesn't get anything into it and infected. Finally, and this is arguably, in my opinion, kind of one of the more important ones to have, these are purifying water tablets. There are 10 in this pack. Again, it's paper thin. There's 2 in each little section here. And according to the instructions on this, and of course it only gives warnings on here, but according to the instructions that this come with, each one, not two, one of these little tablets will purify about half a gallon of water. Obviously, if you've taken out all the foreign material out of it with like some sort of filter, handkerchief, something like that, and it's just you're making sure to get the pathogens out of the water. Each one of these little tablets will do a half gallon. So right here, I've got 5 gallons worth of purified water. Obviously, you have to mix it for 10 minutes, then let it sit for 30 more minutes. But having that in this package, I mean, this is amazing. And because this is waterproof, obviously this isn't exactly a half a gallon. I've never filled it up with water. I wonder how much water it would hold. But since this is a waterproof container, again, now you've got a container where you can put one of these tablets in, and you could, theoretically, if you had to survive, drink from this. So I'm going to attempt to put all this stuff back into the bag. I'm not going to videotape it because that's kind of a little boring if you ask me, and I don't want to embarrass myself with the struggle of getting some of this stuff back in here. But we'll come back once it's all packed up, and I'll kind of show you how it looks. All right, and there we go. It took a little bit of time because that two-person emergency blanket is wrapped in plastic, so it makes it tough to get down in there. But there's everything. You can kind of see the signal mirror behind the water tablets. The band-aids and survival book, you can kind of see the survival book outline there, are in the back just because that was the easiest way to fit them. But I mean, in this nice little package here, I mean, you could throw this in your back pocket or in any pack. I mean, seriously, for a little survival kit, this is nice. I mean, you've got, if we're going back to the 5 C's of survival, you've got combustion tools, you've got a cutting tool, you've got cover, you've got a container. The only thing you're really missing is cordage, but again, with the fishing line, you could have some cordage, and then obviously from the shoelaces on your shoes or boots, you can also have cordage. Obviously, you've got a little bit more here. You've got signaling, water purification, some sort of light source, duct tape to make small repairs if need be, and then a compass for orienteering. So this little kit, for $25, you get the standard, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the star kit would be 7, 8, 9. The 9, 10, if you include the container piece survival kit. And then obviously you can just do whatever you want to mod it yourself. Another thing I was thinking about putting in this would be a more comprehensive first aid kit. Perhaps an extra AAA battery for the flashlight. Maybe a pocket sharpening kit for the knife. Instead of a knife, maybe having a very, very small multi-tool. It's only a little bit bigger than the peanut lighter. Instead of the peanut lighter, maybe having a Bic lighter just to make it a little bit thinner. Like I said, there's plenty of options with this. You can modify it for your own needs, and that's something I recommend for plenty of tools. If you think you can modify and make it better, what's stopping you? Go for it. So that is my review of the SOL Scout. I highly recommend having it for your survival pack. It's a great little bug out pack if you just need something to survive overnight for yourself. All right.